There are true crime cases filled with witnesses, confessions, and clear answers. And then there are cases wrapped in silence, mystery, and the endless darkness of the open ocean. The story of Nathan Carman belongs to the second kind, a tale of family wealth, suspicion, and disappearances that may never be fully explained. It begins with a powerful New England family. John Chakalos was a successful real estate developer from Connecticut. Over decades, he built a fortune worth millions of dollars. He was known as a disciplined, private man who took care of his family and expected loyalty in return. He had 3 daughters, and one of them was Linda Carman. Linda married and later had a son named Nathan. From childhood, Nathan was different. He was quiet, socially awkward, and struggled to connect with others. He had trouble holding steady jobs and seemed detached from the normal rhythms of adult life. But despite his difficulties, he stood to inherit a large portion of his grandfather's fortune one day. That fact would eventually hang over everything. In December 2013, the first tragedy struck. 87-year-old John Chakalos was found dead inside his Windsor, Connecticut home. He had been shot multiple times. There were no signs of forced entry and no obvious motive. The murder shocked the community. Police began investigating everyone close to him, including family members. Detectives quickly realized something uncomfortable. The person with the most to gain from John's death was his grandson, Nathan Carman. But suspicion alone was not enough. No weapon was found, no eyewitness came forward, and no charges were filed. The case went cold. For 3 years, life continued, at least on the surface. Then in September 2016, another tragedy unfolded, this time at sea. Nathan and his mother Linda planned a fishing trip off the coast of Rhode Island. They boarded a small aluminum fishing boat named Chicken Pox and headed into the Atlantic Ocean. To friends and relatives, it seemed like a simple mother and son outing. But it would end in disaster. On September 18, 8 days after they set out, the Coast Guard received a report of a man drifting alone in a life raft far off the Massachusetts coastline. When rescuers arrived, they found 22-year-old Nathan Carman sunburned, dehydrated, but alive. His mother was nowhere to be found. Nathan told a frightening story. He claimed that in the middle of the night, the boat suddenly began taking on water. He said he tried to fix the problem but couldn't. According to him, the vessel sank quickly, and his mother disappeared into the ocean as he escaped into an inflatable life raft. Search teams immediately launched a massive rescue operation. Planes, helicopters, and boats scoured thousands of miles of ocean for any sign of Linda Carman. Days turned into weeks. But nothing was ever found. No body, no clothing, no trace. From the very beginning, investigators noticed problems with Nathan's version of events. Experienced sailors questioned how the boat could have sunk so suddenly without a major storm. Authorities wondered why there had been no distress call. Nathan had not activated an emergency beacon, even though one was supposedly on board. Even more unsettling was Nathan's behavior. Rescuers and investigators described him as strangely calm and emotionless, not like a son who had just lost his mother in a terrifying accident. As details slowly emerged, a darker theory began to form. Some wondered whether the sinking of the boat had been an accident at all. Insurance companies refused to pay out claims on the vessel, calling the circumstances suspicious. Family members began fighting Nathan in court over access to the inheritance money. Lawsuits accused him of wrongdoing, even though no criminal charges were filed. And looming over everything was the unsolved murder of his grandfather 3 years earlier. 2 tragedies. 2 dead relatives. And at the center of both, the same quiet, withdrawn young man. Public suspicion grew. Journalists began digging into Nathan's past. Investigators quietly continued examining evidence. But for years, nothing moved forward. No arrests. No definitive answers. To the outside world, it remained a disturbing mystery. A son rescued alone at sea, a mother who vanished without a trace, and a family fortune tangled in doubt and accusations. But the story was far from over. After his rescue at sea, Nathan Carman returned home to a storm of suspicion. At first, he was treated as a survivor of a terrible tragedy. But that sympathy faded quickly. Too many questions remained unanswered. Relatives of Linda Carman began to openly accuse Nathan of being responsible for his mother's disappearance. Civil lawsuits were filed to block him from receiving any inheritance money. Insurance companies insisted the boat had been deliberately sabotaged. And investigators never stopped looking at him. For years, the case lingered in a strange legal limbo. There was no body, no confession, and no direct evidence tying Nathan to a crime. But there were troubling details that refused to go away. Experts examined the chicken pox and concluded that it was unlikely to have sunk the way Nathan described. They found no proof of a sudden mechanical failure. Questions were raised about whether holes in the boat could have been drilled intentionally. Authorities also discovered that Nathan had purchased items before the trip that seemed odd for a routine fishing outing. Internet searches on his computer suggested he had researched life rafts and survival at sea. Slowly, the theory formed that the entire disaster may have been planned. Federal investigators began to believe that Nathan Carman had killed his mother at sea to collect millions of dollars in inheritance, and that the unsolved murder of his grandfather years earlier might be connected. Then, in May 2022, nearly 6 years after Linda disappeared, the case exploded. The U.S. Department of Justice announced that Nathan Carman had been arrested and charged with murder and fraud. The indictment accused him of killing his mother aboard the boat and intentionally sinking it as part of a calculated scheme. Even more shocking, prosecutors also accused him of murdering his grandfather in 2013 to secure his future inheritance. For the first time, the two tragedies were officially linked. According to federal prosecutors, Nathan had planned everything: the fishing trip, the sinking, and the false story of survival. They claimed he eliminated his family members one by one in pursuit of money. Nathan pleaded not guilty to all charges. His lawyers insisted there was no physical evidence and that the government was building a case based on speculation and circumstantial theories. The stage was set for a dramatic trial that promised to finally reveal what truly happened on that boat in 2016. But fate had one more twist in store. In June 2023, while awaiting trial in federal custody, Nathan Carman suddenly died. Officials said he passed away from natural causes at the age of 29. With his death, the criminal case came to an abrupt end. There would be no trial. No witnesses. No verdict. No final determination of guilt or innocence. And just like that, the truth slipped out of reach. Today, the disappearance of Linda Carman remains officially unsolved. The murder of John Chakalos remains unsolved as well. Legally, Nathan Carman was never convicted of any crime. But in the court of public opinion, many believe the answers are obvious. Others argue that without a trial, without proof beyond a reasonable doubt, the story will always remain uncertain. What really happened in the dark waters of the Atlantic Ocean? Did a troubled young man commit the perfect crime? Or was he simply a survivor caught in a chain of tragic coincidences? The ocean offers no testimony. The dead leave no explanations. And with Nathan Carman gone, the full truth may never be known. The case stands as one of America's strangest mysteries. A chilling reminder that sometimes the most frightening crimes are the ones hidden in silence.